Hey everyone, it's Jeff Fisher of High School Football America making our tour across America as we check in with all the Don Shula Award finalists. We're in Minnesota today, the Vikings Coach of the Year and Shula nominee. And boy, finally, after all these years, I found somebody that might have been doing it a little bit longer than I've been. The guy on the other side of the box is Dwight Lundeen, the head coach at Becker High School, the second all-time winningest coach in the state of Minnesota. Won a championship in 2024 as well, so he's still doing it at a high level. Coach, thank you for taking the time with me today.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Well, I wasn't trying to pick on your age. I was probably picking on my age more so than that. But, let me tell the people around the country, you're the guy that started this Becker football program back in 1970. So my first question to you is this. You've had all this success, but there must have been something you did right back in the 70s there to get this thing rolling in the right direction. Do you remember what some of the fundamentals were you set up then that actually hold true today in 2025?
Yeah, kids are kids, and that's why we do that. And the kids haven't changed a lot. They've gotten a lot bigger, stronger, faster. Technology's all changed. But this again, when we started out, we were a very small school. We had about 20 kids per class in our school, and now we've grown to about 250 kids in our class. So that part of that, it was a great training ground for me. I was the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, special teams, and head coach. And so it was a great way to start. And of course, we suffered some losses then, and that's okay. It's all about your goal and your purpose, and the purpose hasn't changed. It's to impact kids. And that's what's kept me in it for 55 years. And it was a humble beginning, which is all okay. And we've progressed through that, and lately we've got a program going that's we're very proud of and successful, and again, still doing the same things that we were doing it for in 1970. We're doing it in 24.
Yeah, well, like you said, kids don't change much, but that technology, as we found out, folks, just so you know, behind the scenes, he and I, these two old guys, were having a little bit of a problem hooking up the Zoom technology to record
That's
this.
right. That's
But
right.
yeah, I want to stay a little bit, in the earlier days because again, I think you're right, right? X's and O's are the same. We might throw the ball a little bit more than we used to. It's not the 3 yards and a cloud of dust. But one of the things that I found coming from Pennsylvania is when you have a guy that's been at the head of a program for a while, ultimately you end up having some former players coaching with you. And I was just curious, especially being the Shula nominee, while it's your award, you can't do it without the players and the coaches. I would love for you to tell us a little bit about, do you have a lot of players that have come back through the years and coached under you, and what that's like to take a guy you've been blowing a whistle at for a long time and now they're blowing whistles at your players?
Very much so. On my staff, my varsity staff, we're 4A football in Minnesota. There's 6 classes. I work kind of that 2 level down from the Super 16. But I have a number of my staff on my varsity staff that played for me. And then we have about 500 boys that are playing football in Becker, and that is going down through the youth. And a lot of my players are down there coaching, and I think that's really healthy. They like our program. They know what we're teaching. I can go down on a Tuesday evening and watch a 5th grade game, and I know what plays they're running because it's the same plays that I'm running on Friday night. We just finished our state championship, and one of the first guys came up to me and he said, "That was gopher sweep left, isn't it? That one you scored on." I said, "It was." He said, "I run. That's my favorite play," and he's a 6th grade coach. So that part of it has been a really a neat thing. And I'm on my 3rd generation, Jeff. I had your grandpa, I had your dad, and now I have you. And so again, I think that's kind of a unique situation. And it's a compliment that grandpa wants his grandson playing for Coach Lundeen, and my kids want to play for Coach Lundeen. And so I really appreciate when these former players come back and help me coach. And I have a great coaching staff. No, this isn't a Dwight Lundeen thing. It's a staff thing for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Maybe I should have done this at the top, but I would love for you. You said the numbers were small back in the day. Maybe do a little bit of a Chamber of Commerce here. Tell the folks around the nation watching this what Becker is like. Where is it located? How does football fit into the fabric? I mean, you've got great numbers. I mean, 500. That's a good number in this day. So tell the people around the country what Becker's all about.
Well, I went to St. Cloud State University, which is about 25 miles from here. I was terribly in love with this young lady, and I needed to stay close to St. Cloud so I could fool her into marrying me, and then she could finish her senior year at school. And so the closest town I could find was Becker, and we were very, very small. As I mentioned, we were 20 kids per class. And so I got a job there and I taught every kid K through 12 in Phi Ed and health and geography. And then our program from there has gone, and each year we're in a community where we're about 30 miles from the Minneapolis, St. Paul area. I like to think of it, we don't have much of a community. We're about 5,000 now, but there isn't a bowling alley, a theater. So Friday night is the front porch of Becker. Everybody comes to the game. They visit. It's a safe place. It's a fun place to be. It's great football. They know the kids, and it's a great community deal.
And it sounds like the idea behind moving to Becker. I think that turned out okay for you, right? You did get the date, right?
She's still with me, and it helps me every step along the way for sure.
And I said that jokingly because I wanted to get into this, and at this time of year when I'm talking to a lot of the coaches, one of the things I like to do is I touch upon the coaches that help you win this award, but the head coach 1A and 1B. B is very important. Talk a little bit about your wife and the role that she's played in your career to allow you to succeed in this profession.
Yes, I really enjoy talking about her. She's very special. She has embraced and accepted, that coaching is kind of a ministry for me. That's why I do it. I could do a lot of different things, but I've chosen to stay with the coaching. We've evolved, of course. Our kids, I had two boys that both played football for me, were outstanding players. And people ask me what the highlight of it. I always said it was coaching my sons. But she was the mother and took care of the kids as they were young. But now we have, in Minnesota, we eat a lot of walleye, and we have a walleye feast for the coaches. And there's about 50 of them come. So their wives and their kids, and she and I need to model, what it's like to be parents and what it's like to be a coaching mother and a coaching wife. And she's been outstanding with that. And then every Sunday night, we have our coaches meeting at our house, and all the coaches come over. We have about 12 coaches that show up, and she makes a 5-course meal for them, and that's a highlight for them. And that's just, it's worked out where we've evolved into that. And then we have a great coaches meeting, and then we break Sunday night with our game plan ready for the next Friday game. So, yes, she's been a huge part of that. I've had the privilege of winning some honors around the nation, and she travels with me everywhere, and she sits through all those meetings and at the clinics, and she's been a trooper for sure.
Yeah, you can't do it without her. That's for sure. The
That's
wind beneath
right.
your wings. You just also made me hungry. My wife and I just ordered some perch, some lake perch from where we got it from Wisconsin. So now you got me hungry for walleye. I think I'm going to have to find if
Yeah.
they sell walleye as well. I love that. But anyway, you mentioned it's your ministry. I know you're active in FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Tell me a little bit about how your faith uh, goes in together with football.
Well, I found that FCA is just a great connection with football. I'm in a public school, and you need to be careful of how you share your faith. You can model it, but FCA gives me that opportunity to really share the priorities in life. Football is not at the top of my list. My faith is, and then my family and friends, and then football falls in there. And I get an opportunity to share that with kids, and kids will come to FCA to play volleyball or to play basketball, and then they hear about this Jesus that we're talking about. And it's been a great thing. It's a national organization. I've had a few nice honors that come through that. And it really is the most precious ones because it really reflects who I am and why I'm doing this. Nobody really knows my record or cares what my record is, but we're going to keep doing this as long as we have that platform. And in the world that we live in now, coach is very impactful. And in our community of Becker, I love being called coach. It's an honor to be called coach. And it gives me that opportunity to invite to FCA, to they asked me to speak at all kinds of different activities within the community. And I can share why I think we're successful because we're Christ-centered event every time we meet from 3 to 5. It's happy hour because we're excited about being together and enjoying football and being treated in the way that we should treat young men.
Amen. Amen to that. Coach, I know you said no one knows your record. I know how many wins you have. As I said at the top, you're second all time in the state of Minnesota with 412. But what I did want to ask you about was you did have number 400 during 2024, in addition to winning the state championship at the end of the year. And I just wonder, was that any different? And if it was different, how different was number 400? I know you probably could tell me more about all the losses, and there's not a lot of them, but tell me a little bit about hitting number 400.
Well, it ended up pretty well. We had a really difficult loss at 399. We were hoping to get to state, and the team scored on us the last 7 seconds of the game and knocked us out of the state tournament. But it worked out okay. So game 400 was the first game this year, and so we got to invite all of the coaches that have ever coached with me in the last 55 years, and all of the players that had played for me. Each one of them, we never went over in any of the 55 years. So everybody had a part of that 400. And so we had a great crowd. We had a great ceremony after the big win. And it got to be a very special evening. Win 100, it took me a long time to get there because we were so small. And then the 200, 300 came quicker. And then the 400 I thought was pretty special because like you had said, there's only one other coach in the state of Minnesota that's ever reached that. But again, that isn't keeping me in it. There's no special goal. I have to get 450 or 500 or that it really isn't part of it. It's my goal is to win every game, but my purpose is so much bigger than that.
Yeah, no, I can feel that as you talk here and go through this. Obviously, you're here with me because you are a finalist for the Shula Award. The Vikings naming you their nominee, your coach of the year there, winning the state championship, all these wonderful things that happened this year for you. But what I'd love for you to talk about over the next couple of questions is the fact that when you started back in 1970, I would think the Vikings nor any NFL team was reaching that far down into the game, right? And now all 32 teams are reaching deep into the game, whether it's tackle or flag at this point. I just wonder what it means to you to know that the Vikings, reach down into the grassroots of the game and are a part of, what you do at Becker.
I have had the privilege of being the Minnesota State coaches representative to the Vikings since the Vikings came here. So it's been
Oh,
a
wow.
wonderful journey for me because they have helped develop our programs in the state tremendously. They do a lot of sponsorships. They sponsor Coach of the Week. They sponsor our All-Star game. They house all the teams and they pay for that. I'm on the Mr. Football committee. We take the top 10 in the state and then we name a Mr. Football, and it's all sponsored by the Vikings. Now the initiative they're having is flag football for girls in Minnesota, and the Vikings are a driving force of that. I have a ninth grade granddaughter that's in one of the largest schools in the state, Edina, and she loves all their sports. Her favorite is flag football. She calls grandpa and says, I had the trifecta this night. I said, what is that? I threw a touchdown, I caught a touchdown, and I had a pick six. And this is one of the girls that loves this football, and that's an initiative that the Vikings are pushing, and I think it's wonderful that they're doing that. So No, we have a great group of people. We have kind of a big game tonight. We're going to start our Super Bowl run now, and you have to keep track of how we do there, Jeff.
Oh, I had the pleasure of knowing Sam Darnold when High
Ooh.
School Football America was in Southern California. Got to know Sam very, very well. What a great guy. Couldn't happen to a nicer kid. Again, he's a lot younger than me, so I can call him a kid. But I've heard about that Viking team this year. You guys have played very, very well. And one of the cool things about, and this doesn't happen in every state, not every state that has an NFL team gets to play their game in the hometown of that NFL team. You guys get to do that at US Bank. As a matter of fact, you guys play your state semis and your championship games there. What's that like to coach in an NFL stadium for such a big game?
Every coach in Minnesota, we have 430 schools or whatever. Every one of those coaches, that's their goal, is to get to that semifinal game. That rush of coming running out of the tunnel, right where JJ ran out and Sam ran out last Sunday, is an amazing feeling, and the kids love it. The community loves it. There was nobody left in Becker that semifinal and finals game. We filled up that whole side of all 5,000 of our people were there. And it's a community thing, but that is because the Vikings sponsor that. And the high school league here does a great job of organizing it. But the funding, the engine that makes that work is the Vikings and their commitment to high school football. And I know there's a lot of kids in Becker that come out for football that because of the influence of the Vikings in our state, in our community.
Yeah, quite a thrill for a young man
Yeah.
to play there like that. That's for sure. Even in here down here in Georgia now, the girls' flag championships are played right alongside the boys at Mercedes-Benz, home of the Falcons. So that's a cool thing to be seeing. I've got two more for you before we go away, Coach. You probably should load up your coach speak on this because you've kind of done it already. You know, it's not the Dwight Lundeen Award. You know, there's a lot of people that have had a hand in it. But what does it mean to you to be a finalist for the Don Shula Award? What's it like to have your name, your last name, right next to the Shula last name? It's got to be pretty heady. But tell us a little bit about what it means to you.
It is quite an honor. And when I heard that, we had a football game and they invited the 32 all-state players, and then they named me the coach. And then they said part of that is that we're nominating you for this. And it was a great honor. And again, I'm excited about it, but I'm honored. But it's a humbling thing because it's not a Dwight Lundeen thing. You're exactly right. I've had tremendous coaches. I have a great coaching staff this year that I love having them over to the house and working, and they're a part of that. And then the trickle down, of course, is the players. They play really hard for us, and they respect us. And I've had a tremendous number of phone calls and emails about, hey, congratulations, coach. So it's been special, and it's a great feeling. But thank you.
I'm sure you've had this question a lot of times, so I'm going to throw my hat into the ring of asking you the dumb question. But it didn't seem like earlier you were ready to put any retirement phrase into your world. But I'm just curious, A, how long are you going to keep doing this, and what keeps you doing it?
Jeff, I've probably been asked that more this last few months since our championship game. They all thought that that was going to be it, and we had a welcome home, and there's a couple thousand people there, and I'm talking, and then I said I have one more announcement to make, and you could have heard a pin drop, and I just said this was so much fun. Let's go do it next year, and I think they were thinking that I was going to resign. I have not put a time. The Lord has blessed me with tremendous help. 55 years. I've never missed a game. I've stood on that sideline for all those 700 games or whatever it is. It's been a great run. The record isn't keeping me in it. The impact that I can have on our school and our community and kids, that's what's keeping me in it.
Well, Coach, I've really enjoyed my time with you here today. I have no doubt that Becker is blessed to have you as their head coach there from the very beginning. That's amazing, and congratulations on being nominated for the Shula Award. We wish you best of luck, as we wish the other 31 people in there with you. But it's certainly been an honor to talk to you. And again, thank you for all you've done for the student athletes there in Becker and in the state of Minnesota. So thank you, and best of luck.
Thank you, Jeff, and I appreciate what you're doing, and you're helping keep this whole thing going too. So keep up the good work.